Hi, check out my spider office. This is behind closed doors. I'm Kelvin and I am 34 this year. I'm a graphic designer, a web designer and also a terrarium designer.
How many spiders do you have now?
So I have Stacy, who's my first spider. Pepper, she lived above my massage chair for like the longest time. Kittles had actually already mated before we brought her home. So Coffee here is actually from her first egg sac. So that's why I'm especially close to Coffee, because I hatched her from when she was an egg and she's always been like beside me, just watching me work ever since. Xena there, she was a six-legged spider, so she probably got in a fight or got attacked by a predator. So I brought her home, decided to keep her until at least she regenerated her legs, but after that I got too attached to her, so yeah, there she is now in my terrarium. And a bunch of Coffee's kids, so I let them roam freely, but they don't actually move out of their areas. Actually, it depends on the species. So for like Coffee, her species is actually very comfortable with staying in one area. So as long as I make a proper setup for her, she would stay there indefinitely as long as she finds the area is comfortable. And for like Xena, she builds a new web every day. In that process of building the web, she might walk around, try to find a more suitable spots, which is why I keep her in a terrarium and not let her roam. None of my spiders have actually gone missing before because I always close the doors and windows if I'm not in the room. Generally, they don't even move much from their spots. So this area is actually where it all started. This was where Stacy used to live. She had a web over here, which is actually why I made this little sign here for her. And over here we have Coffee's Corner, also known as the coffee house. She's very shy, so usually in the day you wouldn't be able to see her. She will be hiding in her tiny hole there. But later we will try feeding her and see if she comes out. I actually named her Coffee because she's like my favorite thing to see in the morning every day. So yeah, Coffee species, she makes what is called a waterfall web. So it's actually much taller than it is wide. So you can see it extends all the way from my aircon all the way down to this little block here. It used to also extend to my monitor, but I removed it because she's not allowed to. Actually, it started when I was a kid, probably since I was 7 or 8 years old. I just like keeping spiders as pets because I just enjoy watching them, their behavior, and I really like the webs that they build. It's just a hobby for me to keep them as pets. I generally try to find disadvantaged spiders because I feel like I want to give these spiders a chance. I actually found Stacy when I was hiking at Mount Faber. I accidentally crashed into her web and she was on me. She was about the size of my tiny fingernail. So I decided, okay, I'll just bring her home, keep her for a while, pamper her. Her first web was actually here, right above my aircon. So I kept Stacy for about a year. She started growing old and I could see her slowing down until one day she just couldn't hang from her web anymore and she just fell and she died. So that was her dying from old age. I was sad obviously, but I was also quite okay with knowing that at least I had given her a long comfortable life and at least she died of old age. So that's a comfort for me. For golden web spiders, the females are much larger than the males. So it's quite obvious once you've seen them. So this is probably the biggest web she built, which is about the size of this area that I built for her. Stacy was about the size of my palm and her husband was probably like that. I can show you a photo of them together. This is a photo of Stacy and her husband. So if you look at this tiny red thing here, yeah, that's her husband. Over the last few weeks that they were together, he would just hang out on Stacy and Stacy wouldn't even really bother much about him. And when she's eating, sometimes he will just come in for a sneaky meal. So I actually created this room because I needed an office to do my work. I always really like being in the center of nature, which is why I made my whole room nature themed. I spent about $2,000 on it, not excluding what I already had. I already had like my PC, all the tech parts. Mostly it's just like the paint, the IKEA furniture, the carpet, and some of the smart home stuff. So this is a terrarium that I built recently. Basically, she rebuilds her web daily, unlike Coffee, which means that she is more likely to, move around to places where she's not supposed to. And in a worst case scenario, she might actually stumble upon Coffee's web and get into a fight with her. So yeah, I keep her in here, which she likes anyway because of the high humidity. I actually picked this fish tank up from a HDB void deck, decorated it and build it into what it is. Yeah, the plants are like a couple of dollars here and there, along with the soil, the wood, so I'm not exactly sure how much it costs. For a period of time, I was actually working as a delivery guy to help support my business. So I travel a lot, especially around the Clementi area, which is why sometimes when I'm out, I find spiders in all sorts of places where they shouldn't be, like at the rubbish bin or at the condo lobby. So sometimes I see them and like, okay, you're probably not going to survive very long here, so I'll just bring you home. Depends on the species, but more or less I just mist them daily with a little mist bottle, so they will actually drink off the water droplets on their web. And for feeding, usually I will feed them about once every 3 days. Any kind of insects that get caught in their web would be food lah. So usually I will go with store-bought crickets because those are the easiest. But sometimes if I come across flying insects like dragonflies or butterflies, I will also catch them back for my kids. Okay, so this is the employee pantry. This is where I keep their food, their water, or all their daily necessities lah. Okay, so this is a cricket lah. Usually you can just buy it in shops. People use them to feed fishes, so I will just
Oh my god.
throw it into her web. She's actually checking her web now because she felt an insect land on it. Their eyesight is very poor, so they mostly detect their prey through vibrations in the web.
Have you accidentally killed any of your spiders?
So when I walk into my room, right, the first thing I always do is to check on where my spiders are. If in the case where they are roaming around the room looking for a new space to build a web, or generally just not where they are supposed to be, then yeah, I'll be very careful about where I step. But that happens very, very rarely, like probably once or twice in their lifetime. All spiders are venomous, but it depends on how venomous they are, and for Singapore, we do not have any that are medically significant. Most spiders don't bite very easily, so they are actually use their bite only as a last resort defense, and even then, it's very common to have what we call a dry bite, where they actually bite but do not inject venom. If you do get bitten by one and it does inject you with venom, it will probably be something like a bee sting, maybe a bit of swelling. That's about it, localized pain. My wife's first reaction probably is the way most people will react to spiders. My wife used to be scared of spiders, but after knowing me, coming into contact with my spiders for that long, she actually began to accept them, and now she actually loves them probably as much as me. She will come here in the morning when she's brushing her teeth, just look at Coffee and morning Coffee. Yeah, I will do that too lah. So you will see both of us standing in front of Coffee brushing our teeth, just watching Coffee. Other than my spiders, no, I don't have any other pets. Actually, it's mostly because of my mother, because she doesn't like cats, hamsters. She is actually okay with spiders, I don't know why. So these are Coffee's babies, which hatched like a couple of days ago. They are really tiny, I'm not sure if you can see them. But right now, they are still not feeding. They are just hanging out, waiting to absorb the yolk in their bodies and grow before I'll be able to feed them. How I know when they are ready to be fed is when they start building these little tiny webs. I had a male, so basically I just let them do their thing, and yeah, she will remain fertile for the rest of her life.
Sorry, then what happened to the male spider then?
For Coffee's case, she was a bit hungrier, so the male got eaten. It's actually not that rare to see happen for spiders. I came back to the web the next morning. I was like, Coffee, where's your husband? And I saw this little leg just dangling from the web there, so yeah, rest in peace.
How many babies did Coffee give birth to?
about 200. They give birth to a lot at a time, but probably 1 or 2 will survive to adulthood. So these tanks are actually like my rescue hotels lah. So they are usually empty, but sometimes when I find like a critter which I feel, you know, I would like to look after for a while, then yeah, I'll just throw them in one of these tanks. As of now, it's empty. It's actually 2 IKEA shelves drilled into the wall. This is just an acrylic box that slides in. So yeah, when I want to access the animal, I can just slide the whole box out like this and slide it back in. So the only non-spider I've owned so far is a praying mantis. It was a small boxer mantis that actually jumped into my camera's diffuser when I was taking photos of it. I actually thought like it ran away, but it was in my camera lah. So by the time I got it home, I like found it, so okay lah, I just decided to keep it. The praying mantis became an adult, so I just decided to let her go because I couldn't find a mate for her. So I wanted her to have a chance to have babies, so I just released her back where I found her. I do a lot of photography lah, so these are all photos of insects and spiders that I take while I'm out. So this is actually what I mainly do when I go on my hikes. If you just slow down and look carefully, actually Singapore forest, there are a lot of interesting animals to see. It's just that most of them are really tiny. So for my spiders, I don't actually handle them at all because for orb weavers, they are very stressed when they get off their webs. They are pretty much like fish out of water. So I try to leave them on their webs as much as I can.
What happens if you actually touch them, like get them out of their web?
You will see that they are uncomfortable and they'll just try to run away. They don't actually bite. They'll just try to run away, and yeah, I have to get her back and put her back on her web. But for Coffee, when her web really gets very tattered and she's not repairing it, I might destroy it so she will build a new one. Because in the wild, their webs are actually destroyed by the rain. So in this nice pampered environment, they don't actually get their webs destroyed lah. So sometimes I will have to do it, but very rarely because Coffee is very hardworking. So far, no, I haven't seen a house lizard in my room. If a cockroach were to fall into the web, yes, Stacy, Coffee or whoever would eat it lah. But so far my room is pretty clean, so that hasn't happened much before. Thank you for coming. Hope you guys enjoyed meeting my spiders. I will see you all on the web. Bye bye.